Well, I'm Victor Letonoff, and I'm a Lewis painter. When you do as much research as I do, and you read as much as I read before I do a painting, am I really doing work, my own work, or am I sort of transferring the ideas that somebody else came up with to my work? And I just have to say this, like, for example, I worked for a while at Nelson Shank's School of Incominati in Philadelphia. I don't think anybody can work with Nelson Shanks and not come away with an appreciation of color and how to put color down and things like that. And that has to, by nature of the fact that I worked with him or worked as one of his students for a short period of time, creep into my material. I've read so much about David Lefeld and the way he flows light into a painting and the way he uses his paint to sculpt portraits and things like that. I don't see how one of my portraits cannot reflect the things that he discusses in his books on portraiture. So I guess that's the best way I can answer that question. Impossible to copy David Lefeld's work, but the fact that he uses paint a certain way, that he pays particular attention to brush stroke, that he flows light into a painting the way he does, yes, comes out in my work if I'm working on a portrait or something like that. Another thing too is I really believe this. I think that one gets work that does well, and right now my work is selling well. One has a tendency to keep on doing that same work. And then after a few years, somebody walks into the room and says, "Gosh, Victor, that work is tired, hang your brushes up." And so I'm always looking for different ways to express the material. Now here's a watercolor by Remington. And so I started, without getting excruciating, copying the watercolor by Remington. Now, of course, that's only in my sketchbook, so it'll stay there. But after a while, I was able to show that I could use Remington's techniques in my own work. And so lots of times when I'm trying to move forward and trying to break new ground, I'll start to look at a master or an artist and how he depicts these material. Like, another thing I take away from Remington now, and I'm starting more and more in my landscapes, is he does these backgrounds in a very subdued way, and he uses one central figure in these paintings that's alive and that the eye focuses on. And that adapts to my work, because a little while ago we talked about my work, about trying to focus on one part of the painting by using light and color and things like that. And so the techniques of this master are adaptable to my work. So again, I don't know how I can do that much work and that much reading on Remington and then not have the way Remington works slide into the way I work.